Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in Salesforce Apex Hour. My name is Amit, and today we are going to learn about Agentforce and doing a hands-on workshop. We have a great speaker from the Salesforce Developer Evangelist team with us, Satya and Aditya. So let me hand over them for their introduction and the presentation. Hand over to you.
All right. So all of you are able to hear and see me, right? And Amit, can you confirm?
Yes, Aditya.
Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. We are so glad that all of you are here today for this virtual workshop where we are going to learn all about Agentforce. And it's not just learning, but we are going to give all of you some trialogues and we are going to all try Agentforce hands-on. So it's going to be an exciting 2 hours. And without any further delay, we will get started. In the meanwhile, you can keep posting in the comments about where you're joining from so that Satya can take a look and maybe address you in the comments itself. So before we get started, a quick introduction about me and Satya. So, my name is Aditya, and I'm joined by Satya, my colleague. Both of us are developer advocates on the Salesforce platform. And our job is to ensure all of you are successful in building apps on the platform. So, we roll out a lot of content in the form of YouTube videos, blog posts, podcasts, and we go and speak around the world in a lot of events and virtually as well. So this is primarily our role. So you can connect with us on LinkedIn if you have any questions, if you need suggestions, guidance. We'll be more than happy to tell you. One request is don't ask too deep technical questions because there are different forums meant for that purpose. We do not debug on LinkedIn. So debugging aside, any other stuff we might be able to help you with on LinkedIn. So before we even get started with anything, quick forward-looking statements. If customers are there as an attendee, please make all your purchasing decisions based on generally available information and not based on what we showed today. You're going to try the product hands-on, which means you're trying whatever is available, which is good, but you still have to make your purchasing decisions based on what's there on the product and not what's available on the trial logs that we give you, because they might contain some special permissions that might not always be available on all the orgs. So with that out of the way, one important housekeeping item. So I'm sure most of you when registering to this webinar, you have seen the sweepstakes that we are running. If you attend this webinar, you qualify to win a certification voucher, but then there are some terms and conditions which are there in the fine print, but at a very high level, this is what you'll have to do. You'll have to sign up for a trial org and complete the hands-on challenge. Not all of it, up until a point where we tell you that, okay, this is good enough. So until that point, you'll need to complete the hands-on challenge. And then, of course, you'll have to stay until the end of the webinar. And then you will have a chance to win a certification voucher. And we're going to randomly select aspirants. Now, if you want more terms and conditions, please read the link that is present underneath on the slide. But yes, so complete the hands-on exercise and stay until the end of the webinar. Those two are going to be the important criteria for you to qualify to win a certification voucher. So getting started with the topic, so I'm sure you've seen some of these slides many number of times in all the sessions that Salesforce has given, either at Dreamforce or after that, either in community groups or the other workshops that we have run. But I'm going to quickly walk through these slides just so that all of you who have joined us are on the same page about the technology that we are going to learn today, and then we can get started from there. So if you see on the slide, AI is not something that is very new to Salesforce. In fact, Salesforce is the one that pioneered AI for CRM back in 2014, which was when the predictive phase of AI was going on. And today we are delivering over 2 trillion predictions a week. So that's how of a massive scale that we are able to handle with the predictive AI. But we didn't stop there. We kept evolving, and when wave 2 hit us with generative AI, we were already prepared. We were out there with models like CodeGen, which let you generate code, and then a lot of research papers have been rolling out, and a lot of pilot programs have been rolling out in wave 2. But AI is evolving at a very rapid pace. So wave 2 is actually already in the past. We are now in wave 3, and this wave 3 is all about agents. So when we talk about agents, what we really mean is that autonomous capability that we are giving to a software where it is able to reason through your requests. It's able to have that conversation with you, and it's able to understand your conversation, and is able to take action on your behalf as well. So that's what agents are all about. More of they operating autonomously, than they just suggesting you on what to do. They're able to do things on their own, and that's something that's out there in the whole IT industry, starting from cars to drones and to CRM software. Agents are going to be everywhere, and this is just wave 3, by the way. There are more waves that are coming up, and rest assured Salesforce is going to be well prepared for that. And just stay tuned to us. Keep getting updated about what all technologies we are rolling out, and you will be able to ride all the waves along with Salesforce. Now, agents are the thing that everybody is talking about. So each and every IT company wants to implement agents. And why is that? Because, as I mentioned, agents are autonomous, and they're able to do things pretty quickly, and they are best suited for these repetitive tasks that otherwise your human agents are going to be bogged down with. So if you offload all of this work, all of the repetitive work to these agents, agents are able to scale a lot. So you're not limited by the current human workforce that you have. You will be able to spin up as many agents as you want that can cater to a lot of people at the same time. So why is that important? That is because customers are right now expecting more. When you talk about customers, keep yourself in the shoe of a customer. So do you want to be put on hold whenever you reach out to a call center? Ideally, no. You want immediate reply. And do you want to send an email and then wait for 2 or 3 business days to get a reply? No. So customers are expecting more. They are not very tolerant to waiting. So agents are going to help you achieve that scale and reach more and more customers and solve more of their problems. Now, that's the operating assumption that we have, and this is the vision that we are trying towards. What if workforces had no limits? So, if you are able to scale your workforce to accommodate all of your customers, that's the ideal scenario. And that is where we are introducing Agentforce, which is Salesforce's autonomous AI that's able to have that conversation with a customer, reason through those requests, and also take action for anything that the users are asking for. So it's not just limited to predefined set of rules like chatbots, but they're able to do a lot more. And this is all built on top of the Salesforce platform. Now, how is Agentforce effective, and why do you need Agentforce? So if you ask that question on why do I have to have a tool like Agentforce? What if I build this on my own? I have my own LLM. I'm going to build my own LLM. I'm going to train my own LLM. So if companies are thinking about that, then let me show you a few problems that you're going to have if you're trying to build your own solution like Agentforce. So at the core of AI, whenever you hear the term AI, generative AI, at the heart of which is a large language model. So a large language model is just a piece of algorithm that is trained on a set of data. And once it is trained, you can ask it any question. And based on the data it has been trained on, it is able to generate new responses. Now, let's take an what if I ask the question, what is the status of my recent order? Now, this question is not a generic question. It's not a general knowledge question. So it's a question that is very specific to your business. So let's assume you're not training your large language model on general data, but you're training it based on your business data. Now, by the way, let me tell you, training is a very expensive job. You're going to need a lot of GPUs, a lot of processing power, and a lot of time and money invested into just training a large language model. But then let's assume you do all of that, you have that money, you spend it, but then the data that your enterprise has keeps changing very often. For example, I take the data that I have today and I train the model, and it takes about, let's say, a month to train the model. But in that 1 month, my data has already changed. So maybe when I started training, the order status was pending, but by the time I finished training, the order status has already changed to complete, which means the large language model doesn't know about it, and the results are going to be irrelevant. So if you ask the question of a pre-trained model, you're going to get an answer as of the date it was last trained on. And like I said, you can't keep training the model because it is very expensive. So what will you have to do if you DIY this whole thing? Then you'll have to build your own data integration on top of the large language model. So you get the latest data, and then this data can be both structured and unstructured. So how are you going to manage that? And then you create your prompts, you ground your prompts based on the latest data, and then send it to the large language model. So all of these extra steps you will have to take in order for an agent using an LLM to give you an accurate response. And this is if you're DIYing it, which is do it yourself. So now let's take a different example. So let's say I train the large language model on the salaries of all the employees. Now, if anybody, let's say I want to ask the salary of somebody else, I can just put in a question. In this case, what is Emily's annual salary? And the large language model, it doesn't have the concept of security. You ask a question, and if it knows the answer, it is going to give it out to you, which in general, considering sensitive data like this, is a huge security flaw. Now, if you want to implement something like this, if you want to embed security principles, then again, on top of your large language model, you'll have to build a whole security framework. You have to build in data masking to preserve the privacy of your data. And then you do toxicity detection. So there's a lot of LLM specific stuff that you have to do in order to implement security on top of your large language models. Now, let's talk about the final example. Let's say you want to build your own agent. And as we already established, agents are autonomously capable of doing stuff. So, take a large language model, for example. How can it do stuff? So, let's say if I ask the LLM to approve a report, the LLM cannot approve a report, but all it can do is give me a plan on how to approve that report. So it'll say, okay, click here, click there, and then you can approve your report. Now, is that something that you want? Do you want LLM to just give you a guide on how to do things? Or do you want the LLM to do things for you on your behalf? If you say approve, then it has to go ahead and approve the report on your behalf. Now, how do you achieve that? Again, you build a lot of technology on top of the large language model with action orchestration, with reasoning engines, with prompting, and to give the model the ability to even understand what you're asking for. So all of that has to be built on top of your large language model for all of this to work seamlessly. So just in case you are planning to build your own models and DIYing stuff, it's not just the large language model that you have to worry about. You'll have to build all of these different tools and technologies on top of a large language model to even come up with a reliable agent. Now, why do you want to do that if Agentforce is giving all of this to you right out of the box on the Salesforce platform? So every single problem that you have seen is addressed by Agentforce, and all of this you can do with just point and click and natural language. So you need not learn any new tools, no new technologies. And if you talk about AI, people generally say you have to write Python scripts and all of that is not necessary. You're going to work with the knowledge that you currently have, whether it is your flows, Apex classes, natural English language. So those are the tools that you're going to need to build these autonomous agents. So that's really the USP of Agentforce, and this is something that I wanted to show all of you, just so that you know why Agentforce. Why do you even have to worry about this? What is the specialty of Agentforce? So to answer all of these questions, so I feel this is a good intro that all of you must have into Agentforce. Now that's what Agentforce is. So this is the actual product slide that we have, where Agentforce is what AI was meant to be. But if you drill down in this picture, the core things that you'll have to see is that Agentforce is built on top of your Salesforce platform. So all your existing customizations, all your custom objects, standard objects, permissions, security, everything is respected by Agentforce because it is built on the same platform. Now, an AI, you would have heard this multiple times. An AI is as good as the data it gets. And data can be present in multiple sources. So we are giving you data cloud to get all of the data together, to harmonize the data, to unify the data, and kind of build that single source of truth so that it doesn't matter where the data is present in what system. All of it is in the end connected to Salesforce, and that is going to power Agentforce to deliver value to all of you. Now, there's also this very important layer in between, which we call the trust layer, which takes care about ensuring security of your data. So with trust layer, your data is not going to be used by external LLMs. We are not storing any of your data in LLMs. So what we have is a zero retention policy. So we send in a prompt, and once the LLM generates a response, the LLM will forget the prompt and it will forget the response. So there is no training or fine tuning of the LLM that is happening on your sensitive data. So that's what we are giving you with the trust layer. And Agentforce is going to be available across all of Customer 360. So it's not like it's only available on your homepage or something like that. Wherever you want Agentforce to be available, Agentforce is going to be there for you, helping you all the way through. Whether it is your end users, whether it is your internal users, and even if it is developers and admins. So we have actually rolled out Agentforce for developers, where Agentforce can be used to actually generate Apex classes. It can generate code for you. And we are also piloting the ability for Agentforce to generate flows. So as an admin, you need not build a flow, but you can just type in how you want the flow to be created, and the Agentforce is going to create the flow for you. So Agentforce is not just customer facing or internal facing. So we are trying to have Agentforce be available for each and every persona. So essentially, again, one common question that we keep getting is, how are agents different from copilots or chatbots for that matter? So chatbots have a fixed set of rules. Like whenever you interact with a chatbot, there's only very limited things it can do, and there are buttons that you click to get those done. And even if you make a small spelling mistake, it's not going to work for you. It's going to throw errors. So it's very rigid. But copilots have evolved. They are capable of understanding natural language. But then copilots are only assistive. So they will work alongside a human being to get things done. Whereas Agentforce is even more powerful than copilots, where it's able to actually autonomously reason through requests and take action on your behalf. So that's going to be the primary difference. Now, how does all of this happen? Again, there is a reasoning engine sitting behind Agentforce. And what this reasoning engine does is it looks at the question, it tries to understand what the user is asking for, and then it knows what it is capable of. So it's going to reason through and come up with a set of sequence of actions that it takes to answer that question. And while answering that question, if it has any questions, it's going to come back to you and get clarifications. So it's not just a question and an answer, it's a conversation. So you ask something, it tries to solve that, and while solving it, if it doesn't have all of the information, it's going to come back to you and ask you for more clarification. And all of this is a loop that is actually built into the system, and that's what we are calling the Atlas reasoning engine. Now, all of this is very good in slides, but actually you're going to see this in action when you go ahead and do the hands-on in just a bit. Now, Agentforce, like I said, is not just for every persona. We are building agents for every single industry vertical, because every vertical has its own use cases, has its own nuances. So there is an agent being rolled out for each of these industry verticals that you can use out of the box or even customize based on your needs. Now, before we get into the hands-on, it's important to understand what an agent is. So we are talking about Agentforce. We are telling it's a reasoning engine, it is autonomous, so on and so forth. But what exactly is an agent? So an agent, first of all, has a role. So an agent has these five characteristics, out of which the first one is the role, which is what is this agent capable of doing? And that's important because an agent should not be capable of doing anything and everything. So what if you ask the agent to tell a joke? So it's not meant for that purpose. So there is a specific role. It does something like it addresses customers' questions, or it takes care of bookings, or it takes care of raising cases and solving them. So there are specific roles that you give an agent. And then the most important one is knowledge or data. So for an agent to be successful, it needs to have access to all the data that it can, whether it is structured or unstructured data. When I say structured, it means all the data that is stored in tabular format, whether it is your objects, external files, external databases, and unstructured data is your PDF files, chat transcripts, audio and video files, and so on and so forth. So all of that agent is able to look through and answer questions. Now, actions is what an agent does. For example, if you ask an agent to go ahead and maybe RSVP to this webinar. So how does it RSVP? Maybe it makes an API call out to LinkedIn in order to say, yes, I'm attending this webinar. So that is an action. So an agent has to be given a few set of actions that it can actually go ahead and invoke. Most importantly, an agent must have guardrails. So guardrails specify what to do and what not to do, more importantly. So you can actually instruct an agent not to do certain things. So for example, you can tell an agent, do not reveal salaries. So if you give that instruction, it's going to look at that and say, okay, I'm not going to reveal salaries. And these instructions or guardrails are given in natural language, which means for now it's English. So all these instructions have to be given in the English language. So think of it this way. If I'm telling another person on what to do and what not to do, how would I tell them? I would tell it in English and in a very user friendly format. I mean, there is no syntax or keywords that I have to use. The way I'm explaining it to all of you right now is the way you go ahead and explain it to an agent. So there is nothing new that you have to learn, just plain English instructions. And finally, channels. So channels is where your agent is available. So your agent can be available maybe as a chat window on the website, maybe on WhatsApp, maybe on SMS, Slack. So there are different areas where an agent can be available to solve customer problems. So there are different channels that you can expose an agent from. And while building an agent today, you're going to be building all of these. And within Salesforce, those five concepts are divided into these three blocks. So first, you define a topic. So a topic is nothing but the guardrails that you define into what an agent can do and what is the purpose of that agent. Basically, the role and the guardrails go into topics. The instructions are also a part of the guardrails. And then actions, as you know, the middle building block, the actions is what you give an agent. So whenever you build an agent in Salesforce, you first define a topic and then you give it some instructions so that you give some guardrails to it. And then you specify the actions it is capable of taking. And these actions, by the way, are not new. So these actions are your Salesforce flows. These actions are your Apex classes. These actions are your prompt templates. So all the metadata that you have been creating so far on the Salesforce platform is not invalid. It's exactly that metadata that you have created, those automations that you have built, is the ones that you're creating as actions for Agentforce. So literally, you will see building an agent takes less than 20 minutes because the foundation is already there. All you need to do is specify these three, and all of these is done with point and click. So it's going to take you less than 20 minutes to build an agent and make it up and running. So this is again a little bit of an in-depth explanation into how agents take action. So based on any channel, a conversation gets triggered. That means you ask an agent to do something. Then what we do is we get to know the intent of what you're trying to do. So for example, I say RSVP to the webinar. That means my intent is to actually go ahead and respond to an event. And based on that intent, I know if the agent is capable of doing that or not, because I look at the topics, I look at the instructions. And then I go ahead and execute the action of RSVPing to this webinar. And while RSVPing to the webinar, if I have further questions, like let's say if it's a webinar, then there is no +1. But if it's an in-person event, maybe an extra question could be, are you getting somebody else with you? Or what are your food preferences? So those are the kinds of questions that you might typically answer whenever you're RSVPing to an event, which is an in-person event. So if the agent needs that, it's going to come back and ask for input, and then it's going to go ahead and complete the task for you. So this is, in a nutshell, how the entire agent ecosystem works. And yes, a fancy animation to actually tell you that it goes from left to right. Now, finally, I also told you that it's not just structured data that agent works on, it also works on unstructured data. And in order to process this unstructured data, which is in PDF files or chat transcripts or audio video files, you're going to need data cloud. So data cloud is the one that is going to be responsible to get your unstructured data together and convert it to a format that is understandable by the system. So your PDF might have information in a text format, but then inside data, we actually convert all of that text into a computer format called as vectors, which is a little complex to explain right now. But just understand that the text is converted into a sequence of numbers so that an agent can actually look at it and give you it's machine readable, so it's able to answer that question. And the other advantage that you get by converting text into the sequence of numbers, a process that we call vectorization, is that we are able to do semantic search. So let's say if it is just text, you'll only be able to do a keyword search, which means an exact match. But what semantic search means is that you can search based on the meaning of that text. So let's say if I search for a red t-shirt, then I might also get results for a blue t-shirt or a green t-shirt or even shirts. So that's how Google works, right? Whenever you put in a query on Google, it doesn't do a keyword search, but rather it does a semantic search where all the results are based on the meaning of what you have asked. So in order to ensure you're able to do that with all of your unstructured data, you're going to have to put it through data cloud. And in fact, the very first exercise that you're going to be trying right now is to actually ingest this unstructured data and convert it into this machine readable format. And towards the end of this webinar, you'll actually be able to ask a question based on that data. So it's all going to be very good. So stay tuned until the end. And it's now time to get hands-on. But before getting hands-on, I quickly want to show you a demo of how things look like how agents are really powerful. So this is not shown to you by mistake. This is actually WhatsApp. And today we are going to be working with a fictitious company called Coral Clouds. I'm sure most of you would have heard about it. It's our brand new sample app that talks about how you can use Agentforce and Data Cloud together. So what is Coral Clouds? So it is a fictitious beach resort. So think of it like a hotel. Now, how can this hotel use Agentforce is what you're going to be seeing today. And one of the use cases that we have here is we have created an agent and we have exposed that agent on WhatsApp. So here, if you see, I am a customer of Coral Clouds, which means I have booked a reservation with the hotel and I want to check in. So before checking in, I have a few questions. So instead of me calling up a customer service representative and waiting online and pressing a bunch of buttons, I can actually go to WhatsApp and start my conversation. So I can have very simple natural language conversations like, what can you do? And it responds with what all it can do. So to get to the beach resort, I ask, when is the boat to Coral Clouds? And it's going to return the information about the timings of a boat. And what's important to notice here is that this information is present on their website. So it is unstructured data. So we are able to look at the website, get the data, and actually show you the results right here. So that's the power of agents. And by the way, this is a live demo that all of you can build towards the end of the day as well. And then I can ask, when is my check-in? So when I do that, it doesn't have all the information about who I am. Maybe I booked the reservation on an email address. So it's going to ask me, could you please provide email address and membership number? So this is that interaction that is having with me. It's getting more information. So I give my information and then it's able to query the data and tell me that my check-in is on November 21st, which is tomorrow. Then I can also go ahead and keep that conversation going, like what is my membership tier? So my membership tier is silver. And then I can go ahead and ask, am I eligible for a room upgrade? And there are internal policy documents which are stored in PDF format that agent can look at. And because it knows I'm a silver member, it actually reasons both of them together. So it looks at the policy document, it knows the membership tier that I have, and it's able to give me a personalized reply saying that as a silver member, we cannot guarantee an upgrade. So this is how Agentforce works. So you see, this is a very natural language conversation, and it's not a bunch of buttons that you click. Now, it's the same thing that you can even expose on your websites. So, for example, Clouds has a website, and you can have a chat window pop up. And within the chat, instead of talking to a bot or instead of talking to a live agent, you can actually have the same conversation with our Agentforce agents. So this is something that I wanted to visually put in your mind as to what you're going to be building by end of this webinar. I mean, not exactly the whole thing, but we will get you to a point, and then you can build on your own. Like we give you the instructions, and then you can build remaining stuff on your own. But the heart of all of this logic is what we're going to be building today. So with that, I want to hand it over to Satya, who is going to actually take you through the hands-on exercises, and all of you can follow him, and we will be in touch in the chat window. Over to you, Satya.
Thank you, Aditya. Screen. Let me know whenever you can screen. By my screen, you can all see the sign up displayed on the screen. You
Hey Aditya,
can sign up
Satya,
for
your
the
voice,
trial.
Satya, your voice is breaking.
Breaking just give me. How is it now? Can you hear me
There's
clearly?
still echo. There's still echo. Aditya,
Still
please confirm it's
echo.
only for me or for everyone.
Yeah, it is for everyone. Satya, basically, you're
And
sounding like an agent, very robotic. So maybe
if you are
disconnect from VPN or something like that.
if you are using multiple tabs and all, please close it so that you will have a good bandwidth.
Second. The hands on it works well. How is my voice now? Is it still echoing?
You still sound robotic.
Still I sound robotic. Okay. Maybe we can start the try to switch the net 5 minutes so that I'll move to a to check it well. Your screen and then start with the shop.
Yep. Can you
In
please
the
start?
meantime, sign up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Sorry everyone for the technical.
Everyone for that.
Yeah, um, that's totally okay. What we will do is while Satya joins back, all of you please open the hands-on guide. So it's sforce.co/ah webinar. You will also find the scrolling on the bottom of the stream, so you can actually sign up anytime. So basically, once you enter this, you will come up to a screen that has a very big form that you fill out. And once you fill out that form, you'll actually see a button that says if you click on that, it will give you your trial or credentials using which you will be able to log in.
In the meantime, like registered, go to the org and get ready for it.
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing for a while I do the same.
Mhm.
If I show my credentials to everyone, then everyone will log in using the same. So I will stop sharing, I will sign up, and then I will share my screen back.
Hey, Satya, you're back. Hey, Satya, are you able to hear me?
I'm able to hear you
Yeah,
now.
we can hear you.
Yeah, is it clear?
Yes, still sound robotic.
I still sound robotic.
Yeah, we lost your voice now. Okay, while Satya fixes his mic and becomes a human agent, we will.
Voice now, Aditya.
No, still bad. All right. So, um, all of you, once you have received your credentials, you will be seeing this screen and then with a button called Open Hands-on Guide. So you can click that button and it will actually open up the guide that we are going to be following today. So as a part of,
I'm sorry. Can you hear my voice clearly now?
not yet Satya. Okay. Um, So we are going to be first building an internal facing agent, which is also called as Copilot because it assists internal users with their tasks. And then we are going to be building what we call service agents, which are external facing agents, which are autonomously working to address user queries, which is what you have seen in the demo where I've shown it on WhatsApp and the website. So based on the slides, now that you know that data is important, what we're going to do is in the very first exercise, we are going to be creating a data library. So a data library is a mechanism to actually ingest PDF files and have data cloud convert them into that machine readable format that I was talking about earlier. So here we have two PDF files. One is the upgrade policies. You can open it up in a new tab. And then you have the FAQs. So both of these, if you see, are going to be like extensive PDFs about eligibility for upgrades, the process, terms and conditions. And then there's FAQ documents about check-in, check-out, so on and so forth. So that's something that we are going to be loading. So let's download both these PDFs and have it ready on our laptops so that we can actually load it into the system. So once you do that, you will have to go into setup and search for data libraries. But for data libraries to
Aditya, if
work,
you don't mind, can you increase the font size of your screen?
yeah,
So, yeah, sound good.
okay, let me increase it for the guide as well. All right. So first and foremost, let's actually, before creating data libraries, because it needs data cloud, let's actually go to data cloud setup and see if data cloud has been provisioned or not. So once you go to data cloud setup, you will be seeing the screen. And if you are seeing your home org ID and the tenant endpoint, it means data cloud is set up successfully. But instead of this, if you are just seeing a button called get started, that means data cloud is not yet enabled. So you can go ahead and click get started. So once you click that button, it takes about 10 minutes for the data cloud setup to be complete. So only once that is done, you will be able to then go ahead and create a data library. But since the guide is with you, if some of you do not have data cloud already set up, then you can click that button right now. So if you have the button, if you have data cloud set up already, then all of you can navigate to setup. This is the standard Salesforce setup, and search for, okay, we can close all these pop-ups and search for Einstein data library. So once the page loads, you can click on new library and give it a name. And this name can be anything that you want. In the guide, we have mentioned it as resort policies, but doesn't really matter what name you give it, as long as you know that that's the data library that you created. So once you save the data library, you will see an option to upload files. So typically, a data library supports knowledge articles and uploaded files. The reason you're not seeing knowledge articles over here, otherwise it is present as a different tab, is because first of all, in this org, knowledge is not enabled. And then you need to have at least 10 knowledge articles at minimum for knowledge to be supported by Einstein data library. So once those two conditions are met, you will see knowledge articles. But for now, you can upload any files. So you can click on upload files and upload the two documents that we just downloaded. It's going to take some time to upload these files. So just wait, don't click on refresh. Uh, it is actually processing in the background. So it will take some time for the files to be uploaded.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those files, Aditya. While the files are getting uploaded, can you tell me if my voice is clear now?
Yes, your voice is very clear, but were you speaking fast or did it come through fast?
Uh, I did not speak it fast. How about now?
Yeah, now I think it is good. If you want to
Okay,
take
perfect.
over,
Yeah,
then you can. I'll stop sharing my screen.
I can take
Uh,
over.
I logged in using the credentials you shared with me, so I think you should already have this.
That's perfect.
So yes, the files are uploaded and we can click on done. And Satya, by the time you log in, I will just show the next step. Or did you already log
Cool.
in?
No, I'm just logging in.
Okay. So once the files are uploaded, what I want all of you to do is go to Data Cloud. So from the app launcher, navigate to the Data Cloud app. So in the background, what happens the moment you create an Einstein data library is we automatically set up a data stream for you. So a data stream is a mechanism to fetch information and put it into Data Cloud. And the moment you create a data library, a data stream with the name AI grounding file ref home is created for you. Now, this eventually gets refreshed with the data, but if you see the last run status says none. So if I want to schedule the job immediately to actually go ahead and fetch these files, then I can click on this drop down and click on refresh now. So for the AI grounding file ref home, click on this drop down and click refresh now because we want to start fetching the files immediately. If not, there is a refresh schedule of around half an hour. So we don't want to wait for that. So just click refresh now, either from this drop down over here, or if you want to really navigate to the data stream detail page and then click on refresh now, that's fine as well. So that's the first thing that gets created. And the next one that gets created is a bunch of different data model objects. Again, if you're not familiar with Data Cloud, then data model objects is a part of the Customer 360 data model, where it's that single source of truth for your Salesforce org. Um, I think it's difficult to explain all of the concepts now, but essentially, imagine data streams gets all of the data from the source system in a source format. Given that different source systems have different source formats, we are going to map all of the data to a common data format. So that common data format is known as a data model object. And we automatically set up these data model objects to get the files into Data Cloud. So we have the RAG file UDMO, where UDMO stands for unstructured data model object. So this is the data model object into which all of your files are going to come into once they have been successfully ingested. Now, the third thing that gets created is a search index. So now notice in the data model objects, we have a data model object called RAG file UDMO, which actually stores the files that are coming in. The files that you have uploaded are going to end up in RAG file UDMO. But you notice two other objects that are very similar to RAG file UDMO, which is called as chunk and index. So essentially what happens is once you ingest a file, we are going to break it down into meaningful paragraphs of text. So if it's a huge PDF, then it's going to be broken down. And the process of breaking down is known as chunking. And the broken down pieces of your PDF file is going to be present in the chunk data model object. And then I also told you that for you to be able to conduct a semantic search on the data, which means searching by meaning, you need to convert these chunks into machine readable formats called as vectors. So once that process is done, all the vectors will be stored in the index data model object. So this is again just for your understanding. You need not worry too much about each of these objects. All of this happens automatically in the background. So as an admin or a developer, if you're not too keen on understanding all of these concepts, just know that once you create an Einstein data library, the files get ingested in the background, they automatically get chunked, and they automatically get vectorized. And these are the three tables that are used to store that information. And this process of chunking and vectorization happens using what we call a search index. And if you notice, there is a search index called rag file udmo underscore si, which stands for search index that is created. So if you ingest files from any other data source, like let's say Amazon S3 or Google Drive or OneDrive, you'll have to set up these objects manually, which means you'll have to create those data model objects, and then you'll have to manually create this search index for vectorization to happen. But once you create an Einstein data library, all of this happens behind the scenes. Now, the reason I'm showing this to you is the output that you have seen. Like the moment I asked, am I eligible for an upgrade? It's able to go ahead and give me an answer, right? So for an agent to give that answer, the search index needs to be built, which means if you go to data streams, the last run status of your AI grounding file ref data stream must be successful, and you must have received those three PDF files, or two rather, two PDF files that we have ingested must come up here, and then your search index must be built. So once the files come in, you'll have to go in, and then once the files come in, of course, you're going to have a button here called rebuild. Click on that rebuild option in order to start the indexation process. Now, if that doesn't happen, just put it in the comments and we will tell you how it happens, and we will talk about it in just a bit. But the reason we have done this step now is because the whole process end to end takes about 20 to 25 minutes in the background. So as long as you have set it up in the front end, the jobs keep running in the background and you should have the data ready in the next 20 minutes. And in the next 20 minutes, we need not wait for this to happen, but we can go ahead and start creating our agents. And for that, I think Satya, now you are ready. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, and yeah, uh, please let me know whenever you can see my screen.
We are able to see your screen, Satya.
Awesome. Thank you for confirming, Amit. Uh, okay. So what Aditya has done so far is the exercise one of the hands-on guide. And Aditya was talking a lot about the agents and how we can use Data Cloud and Agentforce together. You saw how to get, he also talked about how getting the data which is structured as well as unstructured. The last exercise that we have done, the first exercise, in fact, is the exercise wherein we are trying to get some unstructured data. Normally, you can get the data from various sources into the data cloud, and then we can use it with wherever, whichever channel you want. For instance, you want to use it with Agentforce, we can do that. But in this case, we also want to use unstructured data because all of these Coral Cloud Resort related policies are stored in the PDF files. We want to process the PDF files and also use the information from those PDF files as we go forward and start using artificial intelligence. So for that reason, we have done this very first step wherein we have created the data stream for this PDF files. In fact, these are the knowledge articles that we just uploaded, and we are going to use all of these things going forward. But if you did not understand anything till this point, it's still fine. You're going to get to learn about all of these things in the upcoming exercises. And with that, I know there is not easy way for us to understand if you are following us, if you are going too fast or going too slow. You can always let us know in the chat. We'll be looking at the chat, and anything, if you feel like we are going too fast, please let us know. We can slow down the pace or increase the pace if we are going slow. Uh, I have read through this guide multiple times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of these set of exercises myself while you can do along with me while I'm doing. But again, if you are a little fast, you can also go ahead and do it and stop wherever. With that said, let's get started. The first exercise that we have done is you have created the library and uploaded these two PDF files so that we can use it as unstructured data in our generative AI with our Agentforce. Now let's go to
So
the
one thing
exercise
I
two.
want to clarify, Satya, sorry, before you move ahead, I think a lot of people are facing issues when creating the search index and data library. So it is sort of expected. The reason is I think there are close to 1,500 people on this meeting, and we have provisioned trial orgs to all of you. These are not production orgs. So if all of you are trying to use up the same resources, I think it's going to crash. So maybe wait for some time. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. Like if the search index doesn't get built, all that is going to happen is you're not going to get an answer for the question, am I eligible for upgrade? But your agent will still continue working for everything else. So after the webinar is done today, you can actually maybe take some time, like 2 3 hours later, and rebuild your search index or delete and recreate the Einstein data library, and it should work for you. So we just wanted to give you the knowledge on what a data library is and how to create it. But we totally understand. Like some people are not getting the error because, again, like I said, it is all load and capacity based, and these are trial logs for all of us. So I would say if it is failing, please wait and retry. If it continues to fail, then maybe just try after the webinar is done. So with
And
that,
video
again, back to you, Satya.
and video will be available just after immediately the session, so you can follow the step while watching the video again.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And like Aditya said, if you are not able to create the search index, please don't worry at this time. Give it some time, and later you can delete the library and rebuild the search index. With that said, let's go and get started with our exercise. The first step in order to use generative AI is to enable generative AI. That we can do by enabling generative AI from the setup menu. Let me do that. You can do along with me. We can go and click on setup icon, and here you can search for generative AI. Let me search for generative. I'm searching for generative AI, and here you can see we have instant generative AI. Under that you can find instant setup. So we have instant setup, wherein you can enable instant by toggling this button, turn on instant. Let's do that. And after you do that, make sure you refresh so that you can use the features of generative AI right from here. So this is the very first step that we have in our exercise here, where we have just turned on instant toggle. While you follow this exercise guide, wherever possible, what we have done is we have provided screenshots. If you miss something, if you have missed some step, make sure that this you match the screenshot. For instance, here it is toggled already. Match the screenshot and see that you're up to this step. And if you have any questions, if you want me to answer any of the questions, Aditya and Amit are monitoring the chat. We can always answer your questions as far as possible. We'll try to answer the questions in the chat itself. If not, I will try to answer the questions while we do the exercises. Okay. Now that we have enabled generative AI, the next step is to enable Agentforce agents. To do that, let's again go back to the org, and here let's search for agents. And let me also zoom in a little bit so that it will be easy for you to look at my screen. Maybe I'll make it like 125% so that it will be easy for you. Yeah. So yeah, I've searched for agents, and here you can see a toggle to enable the agent force. So just enable this toggle, Instant Copilot for Salesforce, which is going to enable the agent force for you. Now, when I enable the generative AI, it has many things like the tools, like you can use prompt builder with that, you can use agents with that. So all of that steps get enabled. But with this additional toggle, you are enabling the instant copilot for Salesforce. And at the bottom, you can see one agent is already available for you, which is a kind of internal agent wherein employees can use this agent to ask any queries and then get them answered. Now we have done this step wherein we just enable the agents. Let's see what is the next step. We can open this agent. Now that we have turned on the instant copilot for Salesforce, let's open it and start by creating a topic. In the slides, if you remember, the building blocks are topics, instructions, and actions that we are going to do. So let's start by creating a topic. Let's go ahead, and at the bottom you can see instant copilot. Let me click this. It is going to open up a page where it shows all the details about this copilot. We can also configure the messages and stuff. But what we are going to do now is we are going to open this copilot in a builder, and we'll start building some topics so that this agent can answer the related questions. Now let me go ahead and click on this open in builder, which is going to open up a builder. And here you can see some tutorial as well. On the left side, you can see a set of tools that you can use. And here is where you can create the topics. And there is a central area where you can see how the reasoning engine works. We are going to see all of that hands-on while we are doing the exercises. And conversation preview is where you can ask the questions and the agent can answer. So here you see the preview. Once everything is good, we are going to activate the agent, and you can use the agent from across all of your apps and all of your clouds. Now we have a default topic here. Let's delete this topic, remove this topic, and start by creating a new topic. So let me go ahead and click this button, and let me say remove from agent. Okay, I removed this. We are going to create a new topic. Always keep this guide handy so that you can copy paste a few of the things from this guide wherever possible. Okay, so yeah, we are going to create a topic. Now that we have removed the default topic, let's create a new topic. Like I said, wherever you need to give some input, we have provided a table. Again, it's up to you if you want to use your own naming, names, topic label, and stuff. But it will be easy for you to follow along with me if you can copy paste this stuff from this guide. So I want to create a topic. So I'm going to take this topic label. So here, how do I create a topic? I go and click on the new button, and I'll say new topic. It pops up a window where you can enter the toggle topic label. Again, I can go back here. Let me copy the topic label from here and then paste it. I give it the topic label, and then I give a description. So for each topic is like a collection of actions. Now I want to define a set of capabilities that the agent has, like what kind of questions the agent can answer. So I'm going to give it some set of instructions on how to work, and also give the capabilities in the form of actions on what it can do. So for instance, here I'm giving a topic label, and I'm giving a description about what is this collection of actions going to do. So here I can go and copy this information and paste it here. And like you can see here, it can engage and interact with the users about any request related to the resort. So this is a basic description, and it also gives a description about what it can do. Now, we have given a label and description. We also define the scope. So we can say, like, for instance, imagine this agent like a human being. Now, when a human being is working in a specific role, we define a scope of the role. So what are the different things that particular human being can do? Likewise, for these digital agents as well, we can define a scope. What is the scope within which this agent can work? So let me copy the scope from here. For instance, here we are saying that, let me copy and paste it here. Its role is to assist a customer service representative in supporting guests with whatever inquiries about reservations, whatever they have. Now we have defined the description scope. Let's start by giving some instructions. The first instruction you can see in step 4. Again, I can copy it from here, and then let's see what that instruction has. Let me copy and paste it here. And this instruction says if a customer would like more information on activities or experiences, it should search the related experience. Now we are saying that uh, telling it where to search for the records. Now someone asks the questions about experience, where it has to search. We have an object called experience, and there are a set of records. It can go and search in that records to get all of that information. Likewise, we have one more instruction here. Yeah, okay, I think only one instruction at this point in time. We have one more instruction here. Never ask the user ID. Let me also add this instruction. So you can add as many instructions as possible. For instance, this instruction I was supposed to copy paste here, and this one here, it really doesn't matter. I can keep adding as many instructions as I want. So just add these two instructions. You can find one instruction in this table and a additional instruction here in the step 4. Now that I've added these two instructions, let us go and click next. Here is where you can select which are the different actions that you want to add to it. Now, like I said, actions are like capabilities. What are the different steps that it can do on behalf of you? So here, for instance, I want to select, let us see what are the different actions they want us to select. So get record details. I want to get the record details. I can do that. So that's first action I'm going to add. So let's select get record details, and then let's select identify object by name, identify record by name. Then let's also select query records, and then I'll also select summarize record. So these are the 5 different actions I'm adding, and let's say finish. If you want to quickly check if you are following it or not, so here we have a screenshot where we are adding all of these things: get record details, identify object by name, identify record by name, query records, and summarize record. Now that we have done, let's go ahead and uh, activate it. So you can activate it. Now it gets activated. Like I said before, you can also check if it is working correctly or not, and then you can activate it. For instance, you can do the test it by asking some questions in this conversation preview even before you activate it. So let me ask one question here. So we have a query in step 4, which says summarize Sofia Rodriguez most recent case. Let me copy it and let's go and paste it here. Now let me run this query and see what happens. Now you can see that it is analyzing your request and it's figuring out next steps. In fact, all of this is being done by the reasoning engine. So reasoning engine is going to identify what question you asked, and from that question, what is the context. In this case, we are asking to summarize Sofia Rodriguez, who is one of our contacts. I want to understand what is the most recent case there. So it is asking that question, and let me zoom. Yeah. So it has asked that question, and here you can see the response. But in the backend, what happened is it has selected the topic. Now that we have created a topic, the first thing it has done is it selected the topic. The topic was customer service assistant, and you can see the information about the topic. It has like 2 instructions that we just added, and we have added 5 actions to it. So these are the different actions that we have added. From these actions, for our request, it has picked up the right action. Now, if you go here into the topics, here you can see the topics actions. Now it wants to identify the record by name. So we know the record name is Sofia Rodriguez. So it has called identify record by name action, and then it has sent this information, record name information, and it got all of the information from that record. Now after that, it queried that record in order to get the uh, information about Sophia and the case, and finally it has summarized the record. Now you can see that it has chained a sequence of actions. Now we asked one simple question where we wanted to look at the recent case to get that case information. What it has done is it has done a sequence of actions in the backend, and it has got the final response here. This is how the agent works. Now that we have activated it, if you wish, you can also go back and you can run the same query from your application. Like I said, once you have built the agent, you can use the agent from wherever you want. Now you want to use it from Coral Cloud Resorts app, you can do that, or if you want to use it from some other app, you can always do that. Let us open the Coral Cloud Resort. Let me click the app launcher, click Coral Cloud, and from this application, I can launch the agent by clicking this little nice icon, the Einstein icon. Let me click that. And here is where you can see the chat window. So earlier in the tool, in the builder, you saw the preview. Now you can run the same query if you wish here in the actual application where you can see all of that information. It processes that information and gets the response back. With that, you saw how to create your very first agent, and and how to use some of the standard actions that are available out of the box. You can extend, if you wish, you can create some custom actions. You can create a action that can be added to your agent. You can add more capabilities to it and see how it works. For instance, let's go to the next exercise, wherein we are going to create some custom action. So while you're doing that, I'm also looking at the internal chart. If there are any issues, uh, you can just let us know in the chat. I'll be looking at the internal communication to see if you're stuck somewhere, if you're not able to follow. Now, in exercise 3, like I said, we are going to work with custom actions. We are going to create some custom actions. And these custom actions that you build can be built using flows. For instance, if you want to implement some logic in flows, you can implement that logic and then use that flow to create the action. Likewise, you can also implement the logic in Apex and then use it in the action. If you have already used the prompts or prompt builder anytime before, you can also use the prompt template to create the actions for the agents. So these are the different ways in which you can create the actions. In this exercise, we are going to create the action using flow. And again, we want to make sure that you're not losing time creating the flows and stuff, because that's very fundamental to the Salesforce platform. So what we have done is we have packaged the flows that we can use to create the actions here. I want you all to deploy this package to get some pre-built flows and Apex methods that we can use while we create the actions. So what you can do is you can copy this. You can just click this to copy this URL and go back to your app. Just paste it after your lightning.force.com. So I'm pasting it here. Let me delete this stuff and paste this package URL so that that package gets installed. And through that package, you are going to get all of the flows and Apex methods that we are going to use. Let me click on install. It doesn't take more than 30 seconds to install. Once it installs, you can also explore the flows and stuff that we are going to use. But yeah, here is what we have done. We have just installed the package with all of the necessary metadata that we can use while we create the flow, while we create the action. The first action that we want to create is to give a capability to the agent to issue a resort credit. For instance, you have some loyal customers to whom you want to give a credit, you can do that stuff. Maybe for some reason, if swimming pool is not working or something is not working in the resort, you want to give some credits as compensation, you can do that. So that is the use case that we are going to work on now, wherein we'll use one of the flows which can issue the resort credit. So if you see, once the package is installed, I'm sure many people are trying to install the package. So if I'm lucky enough, the package gets installed. It's not yet installed. So if you're trying to install, please give a minute time so that I can start. I can try installing it once. Once it is installed, I think you can follow along with me. So installing this package is very much important for us to keep going. So let me try installing the package. While you can see here that we got the response. Let me close this.
Satya, I think a few others are also facing the same issue. Don't install again.
Oops. Okay.
It is actually happening in the background, but like I said, same trial org capacity issues.
I request you all to pause installing for a moment. So once this is installed, I think we can we can go on. I know in the interest of time, I want to make sure that we cover all of these steps. If you are not able to follow, it's still fine. You can later watch the video and do the steps, and you also have access to this guide. Like I saw the question many times in the chat in the beginning of the webinar, how long you're going to have access to the orgs. The answer is 5 days. You can try out the different scenarios, whatever scenario you want in the orgs that you have with you. So you have access to these orgs for the next 5 days. So yeah, let me wait
Yeah,
for
in the
some
meanwhile,
time.
if you need to basically continue working with this, like I said, this Coral Clouds is a sample app on Trailhead. So there is a badge called Quick Start Coral Cloud sample app. So if you go to that badge, you can create a trial org from there as well, which will be valid for slightly longer. So you can keep your learning going. So on Trailhead, you can always spin up new trial orgs that are enabled with both Agentforce and Data Cloud. So this is just for this workshop, but it's not that you cannot create new trial orgs anymore. Go back to that badge and you can create an org of your own.
Yeah,
For a few
maybe
people, the package is installed, so let's give
yeah.
it some
Let
time.
me. I think I was trying one of the org earlier, Aditya. Maybe I can. No, this one might not work. Yeah, let me see. Let me wait for some time because I've already done all of the steps in that org. Okay, let me try to log into the org. Let's see.
Yeah, you can
Those who
recreate
have
that
installed,
action. Not at it.
yeah, I'll recreate that. So let's quickly check if we have this agent already in the org. Yeah, I have worked on this. Let me see if we can. Okay, let me recreate that. So what I can do is I can go to Instant Copilot. Let me remove those two things. Have these actions already. I've created actions for. Let me remove the actions that I've created. Okay, The first thing that we are going to create is an action called issue resolve credit. Let me remove that action from here. Okay, cool. Let's do that step. You can follow along with me on this exercise now. You can see the issue resolve credit flow is deployed as part of the package. Now, when I go here, um, let me open flows. And in this, you can see the issue resolve credit flow, which is an auto launch flow that is installed. It's necessary for you to create it as an auto launch flow in order to invoke it from the action. So we have created it as an auto launch flow. And what this flow has is a simple step wherein it is going to take the account name, so the contact name, and issue a credit. Here you can see that it is one simple step wherein it takes the amount, how much you want to issue the credit, and the contact name, and then it is going to create a credit record and store the credit ID value in a variable here. So this is what we have in the flow. Now that we have a flow, let's go and see how we can create an action. Now let me close this and let us search for agent actions. Agent actions, and then here you can click new agent action button. Now let me click new agent action button. Now that we know we want to create an action for flow, let's go and select flow here. And here you can see a list of flows which are defined as auto launch flows. Now let me select the flow that we want to use, which is issue resort credit. Let us select issue resort credit and let's say next. And this is a very important step. It has picked up some the instructions from the flow, the description that we have given in the flow. It has picked up all of these instructions from there. And like you saw, it has two inputs. One is the amount, the second one is contact ID. You can fine tune these instructions while you work on these things. If you don't see proper responses, you can always tune these instructions to get proper responses from the agent. Now, what we are going to do here is we have just added this step. We have created the agent custom action, wherein we have given the user this issue resolve credit flow. And this is a screenshot that you can see that I just passed through in this wizard. And then here is where we are. We need to enable some checkboxes here. I'll tell you what. In this case, we have just it has just created the action with some description and some inputs and outputs. In order to make the flow work, the flow requires these two inputs. It's mandatory, so it requires the amount. So we'll have to select require input to true. And then there is for contact ID also we'll select require input to true. And there is one more checkbox. Whenever there is an interaction between the agent and the end user, you can also collect the data from the user while the interaction goes on. So if that is the case, you can also select the collect data from user checkbox. In this case, we are good with require input. And then we also want to show this output in the conversation window. So let's select show in conversation here and let's click finish. Now that we have created the action, so here you can see that we have just created the action. Now we can add the action to our agent. So to do that, let's go to the agents once again. Now here you can go to the setup and search for agents and go to agents here and open the instant copilot. By now you have only this agent, instant copilot agent. Open it in the builder. And now I want to add the action. We know that this is the topic. Let's click the topic and we can go to this topic's actions and click on the new button here. By any chance, if you don't see this new button, the probable reason could be you would have already activated it. We cannot add actions to an active agent. So you'll have to deactivate it. For instance, I can activate and let me deactivate here. Fine. And then I can start adding the actions here. So I can go and click on new, and then we can add the action from the asset library. So whatever action that we have created, the custom action just now, it is added to the asset library. So let's go here and click on add from asset library. And this is where you can see the issue resort credit. Yeah, you can see this action. Let's select this and click on finish. Okay, we have just added our action. Let's go and test it. So till now what we have done is in this exercise, we have installed the package. As part of package, we got the flow, and then we have created a custom action using that flow. And then we have added that action to our agent. The only step that is left out is to try it out and see how it works. Now, what we can do is in the conversation preview panel, let us run some query. So in this case, I'm asking it to issue $100 resort credit to contact name Sofia Rodriguez. Let me copy it and let's go to Agent Builder and paste it here. And let me run it. So like before, you can see that reasoning engine is working. And you can see that it has successfully issued the credit. Okay, so with that, we saw how we can create a custom action. But again, we can also verify if the credit was issued. You can always go to the, let me close the earlier ones. Yeah, let me close the old docs not to get confused. You can always go back to your app. Let me go to Coral Cloud app. Let me search for Sophia contact. You can go to Sophia contact and you can go to related list. And here is where you can see that it is added $100 credit just now. Now, what next? We have done this exercise where we have created a action using flow. Likewise, we can also create an action using Apex class. The only requirement is, like I said, when we want to use flow, the flow has to be created as a auto launch flow. Likewise, if you want to use a Apex class to implement the logic, you'll have to implement the Apex class as a invocable class. Now here, what we want to do is we have a use case wherein end user before coming to the Coral Resort or even before booking the Coral Resort, they want to check if the weather is good at that place, maybe day after tomorrow. You can do that. You can ask that question to the agent, and agent should be able to answer that question. We want to give that capability to the agent. In order to do that, we are creating a action called check weather using this Apex class. Now again, this class is deployed in your org from the package that we just installed. Let's look at this class and see what it has. Now you can see that I have defined the method to get the weather as a invocable method. And what's more important here is while I'm defining the invocable method, I'm also giving a label here and a description. Description is very important because if you noticed earlier when we have created the agent action, we got the instructions, some instructions pre-populated. Those instructions we are getting from this kind of description. So wherever you are using Apex class for your actions or even the flow, wherever possible, give the description so that the instructions can be picked up from the description. And then you can further fine tune those instructions at any point in time, no problem. So in this case, we have this label and description. And then, like I said, this is a invocable method. And one of the properties of invocable method is it can take only one input parameter and it can return one value. So if you want to send multiple inputs, in that case, you can create a wrapper class. For instance, here I want to send multiple requests. So what I can do is I can create a wrapper class here, and that wrapper class can have a invocable variable. Again, it's very important to give some description for the invocable variable so that it will be available in your Apex action. Now, here you can see that I have also marked it as marked required equal to true for this input variable. So if you remember from the earlier exercise, I have specifically check marked that input variable. So if I mark required equal to true, this will be automatically done for us. Likewise, we have a weather response where I want to show the minimum temperature, maximum temperature, and a description which shows all of this information. What will be the minimum temperature and what will be the maximum temperature at a given point in time at Coral Cloud Resorts. So I have defined a wrapper class for my output as well. Now that these things are defined, I can write the business logic in my invocable method. This is a simple logic which calls a weather API and gets the minimum temperature, maximum temperatures, and builds a message for me. So this is what we have in our Apex class. Now, how do we create the action? It's the same set of steps. You can go to setup and
Satya, by the way, the package got installed in the other org, so you can go back to that. I already created the resort credits action, so you can continue from there.
okay, that sounds good. Let me let me go. Oh yeah, let me go back to the org then.
Yeah, just put DAK in the URL, you'll get that.
TAK. Okay, that's how developers work. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, remove the whole thing. The package is anyways installed, so
That's cool. Now that we are back in the talk, we have let's create our next action. We can continue by creating the action there. Okay, so we'll create a Apex action. Again, to do that, you can go to setup. Let's go to setup. Let's search for agent, and here where you can see agent actions. Just like before, let's go there and click on new agent action button at the top right corner. Let me click on new agent action. This time I want to select Apex as type. Like I said before, you can write your logic in Apex, Flow, or even prompt templates. So in this case, we want to use Apex class. So let me select Apex, and we can select the reference action here. So here you can see multiple actions. So all of these things are implemented as invocable methods. So they are available for you to create the actions. In our case, we want to use check weather. So let's select check weather here and click next. So here you can see check weather at Coral Cloud Resorts. If you remember, so this is what we have given in the Apex class. So we are getting the same description. So whatever is there in the Apex class here, so we are getting the same description in the weather here. And likewise, we have date to check because we have marked require input true there. This is already checked here. And here we have different outputs. Maybe you want to show the maximum temperature, minimum temperature, or a combined description with all of that information. So we have implemented this in the logic. Again, to make it available in the conversation, it's very important for us to check this show in conversation checkbox. And let's click on finish. Now you can see that we have just created the check weather action. So what we can do is we can go ahead and add this action to our agent. To do that, you can go and search for agent. In fact, I already searched there. So let's go to agents here and open your instant copilot. And let's open it in the builder. And like before, let's again select the topic. And within the topic, let's go to this topic's actions. And here I can add the action. So let's go on, click on new and add it from the asset library. This time you can see that check whether is a new action that is created. You can also see a tag here, new tag. So let's select this check whether and let's click on finish. Now that we have added check whether here, we can run a query and see how it works. Again, if you see any kind of exclamation window, you can always refresh the conversation preview by clicking this refresh button. Now let's go back to the guide and see if we have any sample prompt that you can use. Yeah. So we have done all of these steps. So we went through this Apex class and then we created a custom action using that Apex class. And then we have added the action to our agent. The only step that is left out in this exercise is to try it out. Now let's go ahead and try a different uh, use case. Let me copy it. Let me put it in the agent builder. So what I'm asking here is, I'm asking agent to issue a $50 credit to Sophia only if the weather tomorrow is less than 10 degrees. If the weather is good, I'm not going to, agent should not give this $50 credit. Now let's see if our agent is intelligent enough to cater to our request. Let us run this query. Now you can see here that the reasoning engine is processing all of that information and you can see a different message here. It says that the weather tomorrow at Coral Cloud Resort will be between 12.7 to 15.3, which is definitely more than 10 degrees. So it doesn't meet the condition or criteria. So no credit has been issued to Sophia. So to do all of this, you can see that it has invoked the custom action that we have created, the check weather action. So what we have done so far? So what we have done is we have used one of the agents. We just enabled the agents and we got one of the agent out of the box, which can cater to the internal employees requests, wherein we have run through some standard actions and then we have created a couple of custom actions, one using Flow and the other using Apex. Now let's go back and see what we can do next. Now that we have got started creating the agents, we have just created the custom actions, but we have used one of the agents that is available out of the box. Now, how about creating an agent by ourselves? So let's create a custom agent. That's what you can do in the second exercise. So second exercise is where we are going to create a uh, custom agent, a service agent that you can create. This service agent can cater to the requests of the customers who are using, uh, or maybe the customers who logged into external websites where you want to run the agent and then see how it works. So for that, you can create your own custom agent and you can deploy it across various websites. In this case, you can see a small flow diagram where you can see on the left side you have Agentforce. We are going to create that agent called Coral Cloud Agent, and that agent can get the request from the Experience Cloud, which you can see on the right side. And this Experience Cloud has access to the objects like contact, case, and messaging session. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a set of channels using the Omni channel. You can enroute all of these requests from the Experience Cloud to the Agentforce. So that's what we are going to do in these set of exercises. We'll do most of the part, and if at all anything uh, left that we can also do as an assignment, we have all the steps listed in this. We'll go through all of these steps and see how we can work. Now, again, to get started, let's go to the exercise one, where we are going to create some data that is required. Now, if you remember, we already started creating that is data that is required for our use case here. So in the beginning, we have um, used unstructured. We have created a library to get the unstructured data. and we can use that unstructured data. While we do that, you can also work with the structured data. Let's create some data that we can use while when we create the custom agent by ourselves. We can use all of the data there. So to do that, let's go to Sophia Rodriguez record, and let's add a reservations related list. So I want to add a reservation for Sophia. My use case is Sophia can make reservations in Coral Cloud, and after making the reservations, maybe she wants to upgrade the room that she has booked. Again, to upgrade, if she's at a different category, like say platinum or gold, she might have opportunity to upgrade the room. So all of that information related to these categories, the tiers of membership, and the eligibility of getting upgrades and all is listed in the knowledge articles. We are going to use those knowledge articles, and we are going to use Sophia's record and see how she can uh, either get the upgrade or not, whatever, how she can work with the reservations. That's what we are going to do. So without any delay, let's go to the Sophia Rodriguez record. So for that, let me go back to org. Let me go back here, and let me open Coral Cloud app. Well, I do that stuff. Let me also see if everyone is following. I don't see any messages here. That should be fine. So let's go here and let's first search for Sophia. You can also go to contacts and then open Sophia's record. So I search for Sophia's record here. And what I want to do is I want to add a reservations related list. To do that, I can I can edit the object. Let's go here and let's click on setup icon. Click on setup icon and then select edit object. At the bottom, you can see edit object. Let's go and click edit object here. So I just clicked on edit object, wherein I can go to the page layouts and open the contact layout because I want to add the related list. Let's go to the contact layout. I know Sophia is a contact. And here, yeah, you can see different related list items that are already there, but we don't find the reservations here. So what you can do is here you can go to related lists and you can drag and drop the reservations into the related list here. Let me do that once again. Yeah, I just dragged and dropped the reservations related list. I want to add show few columns so that for it will be easy for me to check uh, when Sophia has booked, what is the check-in date, what is the checkout date and stuff. Let me add check-in date to the related list. Let's also add checkout date here. And maybe I can add room type and maybe status. Yeah, I can add these fields. Let us see if there is any guidance. Yeah, we want check-in date, checkout date, amount, room, status, room number. So these are the different things that I want to have. So I can also add amount and room number. Let's go and add the amount if you wish and room number. It's up to you. I just want to see these values there. So I added whatever is good. Let's say OK and let's save it. Let's say S and let it save. Okay. So yeah, we just added it. So I've done this step. Now we can go back to the contacts record page and let's update the membership tier field to silver. So this is what I want to do. So let's go to the contacts record page once again. It's already open. If it's not open, you can go back to the Coral Clouds app and open Sophia's record. So it's already open. I can use this record, contact record page. Let me refresh it. And let's go to, yeah, let's edit this. Now you can see there is no membership tier that is there. So let's edit and give a membership tier for Sophia. So let's say silver. I want to first select a lowest tier and then see how it goes. Yeah, let's save this, and let's also go to related tab. And here is where you can create the reservation. Let's create a new reservation and see how it works. Now let me give some check-in date. I'll give some futuristic date, let us say 28th, and checkout date can be, let us say 30th. And amount, I'll give say $200, fine. Status, let us create the status as booked. And let me check if that is the status they want us to give. Yes, and room type that is being booked is deluxe. So this is my information. Let us save it. So Sophia has done her first reservation. Let's go back to our exercise 2, where we can create a new service agent. Now we are going to create a new service agent. So to do that, let's go to setup here. And let's search for agents. And we have been using this instant copilot so far. So let's go and create a new agent. You can click on new agent, and it is going to take you through a wizard. Now select the type of the agent. The agent that is currently available is Agentforce Service Agent. So let's select it and click next. Okay, ignore this error. It doesn't matter. This agent comes with some topics that are already added. So I want to keep it clean. So let's remove all of these topics. Let's click on this button to remove it. So click on this added button to remove all of these topics for now. Remove all of these topics. Once you remove these topics, you can, yeah, that's what we are doing here. We have just deselected all of the pre-selected topics. Let's create, give the values. Let's go to the, let's click on next next button. Here is where we are going to fill up some information. We are going to give a name for the agent. It has given some default name saying Agentforce Service Agent. So what we can do is from this guide, you can go to this step 1.5 from this table. Let me copy this label. Let's copy the label from here and put it in the agent builder. Okay. And let's also likewise copy the description. Let me go to the agent builder and remove the default description, put the new description here. So the description says this is a Coral Cloud agent that helps customers learn more about experiences as well as book the sessions. The customer should be able to book the sessions using this agent. Let's again copy. Let's remove the other tabs to make it clean. Let's also copy the role. Now that we know the role, role defines what it is going to do. And let's give the company information. So what this company does as an organization. So Coral Cloud, as we all know, is a fictitious resort which can take reservations and provide rich user experiences. Then let's create a new agent user. Let's not use the existing one. We can create a new agent user here and click next. So we have done this step. Oh, you can also enrich the event logs. If you want to look at the logs, you can go back. You can also select this option to enable the logs of the conversation data. But yeah, let's click next. And here is where you can select a library. So if you remember from the very first step, we have created a library called resort policies. Now that library is available for us to use with this agent. So I'm selecting that library here and let's click create. Okay. Now that we have created the agent, let's configure the Coral Cloud agent by creating a new topic. So what we can do is we can go to the agent builder. So in fact, if the agent builder is not already open, open the agent builder. You can do it from the setup always. So I've already opened it. Let's refresh this. Let me go to the, yeah. So you can go to the setup, look at the Coral Cloud, you can search for agents, and then go to the Coral Cloud agent. Let me click on this. If you miss this step, what I've done is I went to setup, I search for agents here, and then from the agents, I selected Coral Cloud agent, and then I'm going to open it in the builder because I want to create the topics and stuff. Now you can see that it's pretty much empty. There are no topics so far. So let's go ahead and create a new topic. Click on new and click on new topic. Now again, for ease, we have provided the table here from where you can copy the label. Let me copy the label and paste it here. Likewise, let us also copy the description and paste it here. And let's give the scope and paste it here. So we are defining the scope. Now we are going to define some instructions. So that's what we are going to do in this next step. Now I want to provide as many instructions possible. Whenever you're creating the agents, make sure that you be as prescriptive as possible so that you'll get most appropriate response. So in this case, I want to make sure that whenever a customer uh, reserves a room in the Coral Cloud Hotel. Maybe they want to upgrade it. Maybe they want to change the date of reservation. Maybe they want to add more people. So all of this stuff we should be able to cater to. So what we have done is we have created a set of instructions here for you to make the things easy. But again, I would encourage you to use your own set of use cases, your own set of instructions to make it more capable of doing other stuff as well. As I said, you have org for 5 days, you can do that. So let me quickly copy these instructions from here and let me paste all of these instructions uh, here. So I'll paste the first instruction and then I'll add instructions. Likewise, let us copy paste all of these instructions. So these instructions are going to provide guidance on what it has to do when someone asks for an upgrade or what it has to do when someone asks for a date change. So all of these things are provided in these instructions. So let me quickly copy paste all of these instructions. Let me do the fourth one as well. Um, so I've done four. Let me copy the fifth one. Likewise, I will copy these three instructions as well. So let me do that. I'll add the final instruction. Let me copy it from here and paste it here. Cool. I have added all of these instructions, which is good. If you want to also give some example usage input, you can do that. But let's keep it a default and let's say next. Now, here is where you can add the actions. So in this example, we're asking it to, they're asking us to select the answer questions with knowledge standard action. So let's select that. So let's select answer questions with knowledge and let's click on finish. Okay, so what we have done, we have created our own custom agent and then we have created a topic for it and then added the action. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to create a set of custom service agent actions, and then we can add those actions to this agent. Let's quickly do that, at least few actions. So here the first action that we want to add is we want to get the customer details, for which again I have created a flow called get customer details, which is installed as a package in your org. So I can do these steps very quickly because we have done this step at least twice now. So let me quickly add this custom action. Again, to add the custom actions, what you can do is you can go to the setup and search for agent, and let's see how easily we can add the actions. So I'll select a new agent action. The first one I want to do is I want to use flow, and I want to create that to get the customer details. So here we have a lot of actions. I will select the get customer details flow, and I'll keep these two things default as usual, and let's click next. So here you have the description, and you have two inputs. One is email, the other is membership number. I want to make sure that uh, we get the email as an input and membership number as an output, and we show the contact in the conversation. So these are the three different things. So email and membership and contact. And let us click on finish. Likewise, let's add a couple more actions. Let me create a new agent action. Again, this time, let's see what we'll have to do. I want to get the reservations action. So I want to use the get reservations flow, and I want to make a contact ID to get the input. So let's do that. Let me create a new agent action for get reservations. So let us select flow here. And if you see here, you should find get reservations. Let's keep all of these things default, and let's mark input required and showing conversation, which is going to show a list of reservations. Let's finish it. Let's add one more action. This time it is going to be the update reservations action. Again, that is a flow. So let's go here and let us select flow, and let us select update reservation. Let's say next. And for this, I definitely need to have a reservation ID. Once I have the reservation ID, I can get the reservation status and the room number, all of this information. So I at least need one input here. So I'll select one input here and then select showing conversation and click on finish. So this is what we have done, update reservation. And let's add one final action to create to get the available rooms. I want to see if the rooms are available or not. So this is written as a Apex method. So I want to use Apex in this case. So what we'll do is let's go here and let me create a new agent action. This time I'll select Apex, and then you can see I have different methods. I want to use get available rooms. Let me select that and click next. Now you can see that it got the description, but from my class, the instructions was probably not defined. So what I can do here is I can copy the instructions. So room type. So room type is like type of room to check room availability for. Now, whenever someone asks to reserve it or upgrade, so it has to check if that particular room type is available or not. It has to check the policies. If the upgrade is possible, if the policy is okay, then it has to check if the room is available. So the other instruction output, let me also copy it from here, list of rooms. Let me copy this and give it as instruction here. And then let's make data type the required input here. Data type is text type, and the let's also show it in the conversation, like as usual. Yeah, and let us click finish. So now we have created 4 different types of actions. The next step is to go and add those actions to our agent. To do that, again, you can search for agent and then go to agents here. and open your Coral Cloud agent. So here we have Coral Cloud agent. Let me open that and let me open it in Builder. And to add the actions, we know we need to select the topic. And here you can see a tab, this topic's actions. Now we already added one action while we created the topic. Let's add more actions that we have just created. Again, to add those things, you can go and click on new here, and you can say add from asset library. Okay. So yeah, we want to add these four actions that we have created. One is get customer details, get reservations, update reservations, and get available rooms. Let's do that. Let me add get customer details. Okay. And then get reservations. What else? We have get customer details, get reservations, and then update reservation, get available rooms. We have a update reservation you can find here that we have just created, and get available rooms is one more thing that I want to add. Yeah, get available rooms. So these are the four different actions that we have created. We have just added. Let's click on finish. Now that we have added all of these actions, um, let's go and try it out and see if it works. First question I want to ask is, am I eligible for an upgrade? Now, Sophia, we all know that she's a Silver Elite member. Let me copy it from here and ask if I'm, again, if you see an exclamation, you can also refresh it and paste it here. So I just pasted it here. Let's ask that question and see what it has to say. Now it should able to look for, yeah, it is asking me to provide the email address and membership number. Now you can see that how conversative it is. So I just asked, am I eligible for an upgrade? It doesn't know who am I. If it is Sophia or Satya or Aditya, it doesn't know. So it is asking for email address and the membership number. So let's see. Yeah, we have that information here. Let me copy it from here and paste it here. See, I'm copying and pasting some predefined queries from there. But again, you're free to try out whatever different scenarios you want. You might ask a totally different question. You should be, it should be able to answer your question there. Now here I'm giving my email address and my membership number. Let us send that information and let's see what it has to say again. Now, while it does that, you can also see that it is picking up the respective actions. So these are the different actions from where it is picking. So it is working within its scope and it is delivering within the actions that it can do. If it cannot do that action, then it is going to say that, sorry, I'm not capable of it. Okay, now here you can see it says, thanks, Sophia. Let me check for eligibility for an upgrade. One moment, please. And it is checking. While it does that, maybe I
Satya, I
can,
think that
yeah.
org doesn't have knowledge articles indexed.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll share my screen
Mhm.
and show the remaining demo then.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So let me hand it over to Aditya because it might be running on his thing. So let me stop sharing. And it's over to you, Aditya.
Yeah, now you're able to see, right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
You can see.
Okay. Yeah, so taking over, basically it's the same set of instructions that Satya was showing, and it's the same question. If we ask, am I eligible for an upgrade? It's going to first ask to verify the details. The reason for that is in the instructions, we have specified that it has to ask for that information. For example, if you look at this instruction, we say if email and membership ID are blank, then you must always ask for email and membership number. So that is why it is doing that. And we provide the email and membership number, and then you can see what happens. So the moment I provide the email and membership number, it goes ahead and fetches my contact details. And here it knows that the membership tier is silver. And then it goes ahead and searches the knowledge articles. So these are the PDF files that we had ingested. And based on that, it's able to identify that silver members are not guaranteed any upgrades. So it's able to put the context of the detail of the customer along with the knowledge article and then gracefully give a response. Now, let's say if I take the conversation forward and say initiate the check-in process. Now, here is where again we've given instructions saying whenever they check in, you need to have room type and so on and so forth. So all the instructions here are in natural language that will be considered. So if you see, it's chosen this topic, and this topic has all of these different instructions that are sent to the LLM. And in here, it's chosen um, that the reservation is already checked in. So it's saying that you're already checked in. If not, it would have asked us for the room type, and we would have given the room type, which is what we have seen previously. But we can try and do that if absolutely required. But in the interest of time, this is how it typically works. If you're not checked in, it's going to ask you for the room type, and it's going to add you to that. So that is how this service agent is configured. So essentially, if you observe, the primary difference between a copilot and a service agent is the actions. So within copilot, we were able to add a lot of standard actions, like identify object by name, record by name, so on and so forth. But because this is a customer facing agent, we want to be as restrictive as possible. So we are only going to expose the custom actions that we created along with one standard action, that is to answer questions with knowledge. So you have a lot of control on what kinds of details are returned to end customers. So here we are restricting the ability to query only customer details, reservation details, and session details, for example, but not any record in Salesforce. So that's one. And it's also important to remember that whenever you're configuring a service agent, you configure an agent user. This was a part of the wizard. So all of these operations are going to run in the context of this agent user. Because this is external facing, any permissions that you want to give must be given to the agent user itself. So for example, if this agent must access reservation records, then this user must be given access to reservations. So this user automatically has a profile. You can give any permission sets that you want. But for service agents, this is the most important security configuration that you need to know. Anything that this service agent must access, you must give access to this particular user. Similarly, if you create 10 or any number of service agents, you will be creating different agent users for each service agent. So different agent users can have different permissions depending on what you have created the agent for. Now, for every service agent, if you notice, there is a connections tab. Again, this is just a demo that I'm giving in the interest of time, but you can go ahead and complete the remaining two exercises once the webinar is done. Also, for all of you who have been running into issues creating data libraries, after the webinar is done, create a new data library. I mean, don't worry about fixing the existing one. Just go ahead and create a new data library and it should work fine. And even though there are duplicates, it doesn't really matter. So just go ahead and create a new library after the webinar. So essentially what we are doing in the connection section is we are using omni-channel. So omni-channel is an existing messaging interface where you can route incoming requests from customers, whether it is through voice, whether it is through chat, WhatsApp. All of it can be routed to service reps that are sitting inside Salesforce. So for that purpose, you create what we call an omni-channel flow that can be used to route all incoming requests to different end users. Now, within this flow, what you do is typically instead of routing it to, let's say, a queue, so whenever an incoming request comes in, then either it goes to a queue of users. So one of the user accepts that incoming message and starts a conversation with the user. or you directly route it to a physical agent or agent with particular skill, or even an Einstein bot. But now with Agentforce, you can actually start routing all the incoming requests directly to a service agent, which is what we are doing here. So we select a service agent, and whatever is the new service agent that we have created, we will be routing to that. Now, this is for the inbound flow. That means whenever a customer sends in a request, you route it to this particular agent. Now, what happens if that agent is not able to answer the user's question? What if you want to hand it over back to a physical user? So that is where the outbound flow comes into picture. And here we have a different flow called route to queue. So essentially, it's going to look exactly the same, but instead of routing it to an agent, the outbound queue will route it to a queue. So what this basically says is that any incoming request will first be handled by the agent. And if the agent is not able to answer the user's question, and if it is outside the scope that you have defined and outside the topics, you can actually route it back to a physical queue so that an actual human being picks it up and takes the conversation forward. So that's the routing that happens. And because we are using omni-channel, you can have any channel of your choice. For example, I have configured 2 channels in messaging settings. Again, all of these steps are there in your guide. For the agent channel, WhatsApp is pretty easy to set up. Basically, you set up different channels on where you want to expose this agent. So here I'm exposing it on a website, and here I'm exposing the agent on WhatsApp as well. So if I'm exposing it to a website, again, it goes through the same. There is a lot of configuration. I mean, if you are looking at this for the first time, it can get overwhelming because routing messages involves a lot of configuration regarding skills, regarding capacity, regarding how you define to which user is a particular request routed to. So you need to know a lot of different configuration items in order to configure omni-channel. So I wouldn't like scare you with all of these details, but just know that there is a lot of granular control that you have on how you configure messaging. And finally, of course, whenever you deploy to a website, whether you want to do a pre-chat form, if you want to brand the agent with your colors, with your logos, all of that is totally in your control. So essentially, most of your work is going to be like creating the agent itself and setting up the actions that you want to give the agent. But once you do that, since an agent can be plugged into wherever a bot or wherever a human being is present, so that's going to be pretty easy. So all it takes is, instead of you routing it to a queue, you route it to a service agent. So wherever omni-channel is available at, you can surface your agent for service agent in all those locations. That's pretty much what we are doing in this particular workshop, where we wanted to show you what an agent is and how you configure an internal facing agent and an external facing agent. In terms of configuration, as you have seen, both of these look exactly the same in terms of the topics that you define, the actions that you define, and the instructions that you give. It all depends on where you're surfacing the agent and what actions you're giving it. So like I keep saying at other events, configuring the agent is the easiest part. Like if you see, you've configured 2 agents in about 1 hour time. So that's the easy part. The bigger discussion should be with your customers in terms of what use cases do you want the agent to solve. And in order to solve those use cases, what are the actions that you need? Do you have to end up creating a new flow, creating a new Apex class? So planning on what the agent must do takes up more time than configuring the agent itself. So I would encourage all of you that with this knowledge that you have, please go back to your customers and start having conversations on how agents can simplify their business operations, and then configure an agent for them. So with that, we are at the end of the webinar, but a few more housekeeping items. So all of you, if you are until the end of the webinar, we have your details. We will randomly pick and inform you about the certification voucher and stuff. Amit is going to be in the loop as well. So we will coordinate with Amit. Amit is going to help you. Um, so please stay tuned. And I spoke about Agentforce for developers in the very beginning, right? That Agentforce can help you write code. So if you want to know how to do that, there is an upcoming webinar next month on December 4th. So maybe take a screenshot, but this recording is anyways going to be done on YouTube. So you can come back and scan the QR code and register. So we have the product managers for the product attending this webinar. So you'll hear directly from them on the roadmap, the features, and so on. There's also a quest running. So today is not the only time where we give away stuff. There's an existing quest that's running for the past 2 months built with Agentforce. So you build an agent with what all you have learned today, make a video out of it, post it on LinkedIn, and you get a free chance to get a TDX pass or an Agent Blazer hoodie. Again, terms and conditions apply, but just know that there are giveaways going on. So if you keep an eye out on all the social channels, you can find some or the other giveaway to get some swag. And finally, those of you who are joining us from India, there is this Telegram channel where we keep posting all of these updates. If there is any new webinar, new blog post, new feature. So this is like a broadcast channel that you can join to receive updates on everything that Salesforce developers is doing for the betterment of all of you. So with that, I would like to say thank you. I tried to answer a few questions both on YouTube and on LinkedIn. YouTube was pretty much manageable, but on LinkedIn, I see close to 1,700 comments. It's humanly impossible. I wish I had an agent that could answer these questions, but we are going to look at the questions and if possible put answers in comments. But nevertheless, if your question remains unanswered, go back to the Trailblazer community. This product is quite new, everyone is trying their hands on, so you can start discussions and you can take it forward. So with that, I would like to thank all of you. Back to you, Amit, for any other housekeeping items that you have.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Aditya and Satya, for such a great presentation and helping our community to build their first agent. Thank you so much, and I'm glad like all of us join us for the long. And I can see there are 3,000 people join us live, and couple of 100 people join us on a LinkedIn and YouTube, and 3,000 plus users join on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for your patience and joining us and staying almost for 2 hours with us on the live session. And you always have the luxury to watch the video later in the stage into the YouTube channel. You can go back, watch again. There is a QR code is already there. If you did not create it, or you can still go and create it and do your hands on. Once you've done it, you are already part of this a chance to win the certification voucher. Will announce as per our rule. You can go to Apex our website. All the rules are clearly mentioned and articulated what you need to do and how you will be eligible. And all the instruction are very much clearly defined, and you can always see the notes are there in the bottom. You can watch. So thank you so much, Aditya and Satya, for such a great session and workshop.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you for your patience. And like Amit said, you can refer to the guide. If you have missed something, if you are not able to do along with us, you can definitely do it little later. Give it some time and start working on it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe Apex our YouTube channel and follow our LinkedIn live and LinkedIn page. Thank you, everyone.